My name is Rachel Morgan. I'm 38 years old and I live in Dallas, Texas. What I'm about to share is not a metaphor, not a dream, and certainly not a fantasy. It is the most terrifying and awe-inspiring experience of my entire life. The moment I died, met Jesus Christ, and was shown what will happen before the rapture. It started on an ordinary Friday afternoon. I wasn't expecting anything unusual. I had just stopped at a local supermarket to grab a few things: milk, cereal, and pet food for my dog. The sun was bright, the air hot and heavy, and the parking lot was buzzing with shoppers. I loaded my bags into the car, started the engine, and took a sip of juice I had picked up from the store. What I didn't know was that this natural juice contained traces of peanut oil. I have suffered from severe peanut allergies my whole life, but I had never experienced an episode like this. Within seconds, my throat began to close, my chest tightened, and my vision blurred. I reached for my phone to call for help, but I collapsed against the steering wheel. The world went dark. I felt myself being pulled out of my body. There was no pain, only silence. I saw my lifeless body slumped in the driver's seat, the grocery bag on the passenger side, and my phone buzzing with an incoming call from my sister. Then, in that stillness, Jesus appeared. He wasn't distant. He was right there in front of me. His eyes locked into mine, not just seeing me, but seeing through me, into the depths of my soul. There are no human words to describe the mixture of gentleness and authority in his gaze. He spoke with a voice that was like thunder wrapped in peace. "Rachel, the time of preparation is over. I will show you what comes before the rapture." In an instant, the ground beneath me dissolved. The sky opened like a torn curtain, and I was lifted above the earth. But the earth I saw was not the vibrant blue planet from NASA photos. It was shrouded in a creeping darkness, a thick shadow that spread across continents, swallowing light and suffocating hope. Jesus said 9 or 3 days. 3 days of darkness and judgment. On the 4th day, those who belong to me will ascend. And my heart trembled. The vision unfolded before me. The first day began like any ordinary morning. I saw my own city of Dallas, children heading to school, people grabbing coffee, cars honking during the rush hour. Life seemed normal. Then, without warning, silence fell. It wasn't night. The sun simply vanished. The air grew heavy, and everything turned gray, as though someone had drained the color from the world. Suddenly, everyone's phones rang at once. A global alert flashed. "Stay inside! Do not leave your homes! World Order Protocol!" Panic erupted instantly. Stores were overrun. I saw a supermarket in Houston filled with terrified people. Children crying, elderly collapsing, mothers screaming for food. Military tanks rolled in, helicopters thundered above, soldiers set up barricades. But what chilled me the most wasn't the chaos outside. It was the fear in the soldiers' eyes. They were following orders, but even they didn't know why. Then, Jesus showed me something deeper, the spiritual reality behind the physical. Some houses were swallowed in darkness, while others glowed faintly with a golden light. Over those glowing homes stood enormous angels, silent guardians, shielding the faithful within. Inside those homes, I saw families on their knees praying, worshiping, weeping, yet surrounded by supernatural peace. In the other homes, there was nothing but terror. Families argued, smashed furniture, screamed at each other, clung to the news for answers that never came. And in those darkened places, I saw hideous demons slithering inside through television screens, phones, and words of hatred. They whispered lies, turning husbands against wives, parents against children. Jesus said, "This is the first day. The separation begins now. Those who know me will understand. Those who do not will be consumed by fear." The second day was worse. The atmosphere itself grew oppressive, as though the earth was suffocating under an invisible weight. People everywhere gasped for breath. Marriages cracked under pressure. Parents turned on children. Children cursed their parents. Leaders across the world scrambled in confusion, some claiming it was climate disaster, others blaming artificial intelligence or even aliens. No one dared to acknowledge the truth. God was speaking. I watched Washington, D.C., Brussels, and Beijing. Leaders huddling in secret meetings, arguing, shouting, utterly lost. The world's greatest minds were powerless. Jesus said, "On this day, the hearts of men will be revealed." By the 3rd day, the world descended into madness. It was no longer just fear. It was insanity. I saw people tearing their hair out, smashing windows, screaming in the streets. Hospitals were abandoned. Children cried alone. Neighbors locked their doors against each other. It was as though evil itself had been released as a choking fog across the earth. And in the middle of it, I saw Jesus weeping. His tears fell like drops of light onto the earth, bringing momentary glimmers of hope in homes where faith still existed. But those lights were few, scattered like stars in an endless night. And then, he looked at me with sorrow in his eyes. "Rachel, this is just the beginning. On the fourth day, the heavens will open." On the fourth day, everything changed. The chaos of the previous day suddenly gave way to an eerie calm. It was as though the whole universe held its breath. The wind stopped. The birds were silent. Even the trees stood unnaturally still. For a few haunting moments, there was nothing but absolute silence, deeper than any quiet I had ever known. Then it happened. A light unlike anything on earth tore across the sky. It wasn't sunlight. It wasn't electricity. It was a divine brilliance, white, pure, alive. It shattered the blanket of darkness and pierced through dimensions. I saw the heavens open, and an army of angels appeared, innumerable, radiant, with trumpets and swords. And then the sound came, a trumpet blast that was not of this world. It wasn't just heard. It was felt in every fiber of existence. It was the sound of eternity, the sound of final separation. Jesus spoke, his voice echoing across the cosmos. "Now, call my people." Instantly, I saw homes that had glowed with golden light explode into brilliance. People were lifted from their living rooms, their cars, their workplaces, drawn upward in streams of radiant glory. The rapture had come, but the scenes that followed were devastating. Streets filled with panic, mothers clutched at empty cribs. Cars, suddenly without drivers, crashed into one another. Entire families were divided, one ascending, the other left behind. I saw a father drop to his knees in his daughter's room. She was gone, but her Bible lay open on the bed with a note. "I'll wait for you in heaven, Daddy." He wept in anguish, realizing too late that he had mocked the very faith that saved her. Pastors who had preached but never truly surrendered stood in empty churches, left behind by their own congregations. News channels scrambled with explanations. Alien abductions, solar flares, scientific anomalies, but deep down, every soul knew the truth. Jesus had come for his people, but the story didn't end there. In the aftermath, a new figure emerged on the world stage. He was charismatic, eloquent, and strangely captivating. He spoke of peace, unity, and global restoration. People hailed him as the savior of humanity. But his eyes, those chilling eyes, betrayed something darker. Jesus whispered to me, "He is not what he seems." He carries the mark of deception. Soon a new global system was introduced, a digital identification, a universal document promising food, shelter, and safety. But it came with one requirement: unquestioning loyalty to the new order. Those who accepted it received a spiritual seal, an invisible mark that severed their hearts from God. I watched as people, desperate and hungry, surrendered themselves to the system. Their eyes dimmed down, their spirits silenced. Yet not all hope was lost. Even after the rapture, I saw small pockets of believers rise. They were the ones who had ignored God before, but now surrendered fully, refusing to bow to the new system. Some were teenagers who once wasted hours on social media, but now clung to torn pages of the Bible, worshiping under persecution. Others were elderly women walking door to door, whispering the gospel despite the threat of death. They knew the cost. Many were captured, tortured, or killed, but their courage lit flames of faith in unexpected places, even among soldiers of the new order. And then, Jesus looked at me one final time. His expression carried both majesty and grief. "Rachel, I gave time. I gave warnings. I gave my blood. Now the door closes. Those who are mine are safe. Those who mocked will see. The age of grace is over. Judgment begins." As he spoke, I saw a mighty angel close an invisible door in the heavens, just as in Noah's day. It was final. The chance was gone. When I awoke in my body in that parking lot, gasping for air, I knew my life could never be the same. I had seen what is coming, and I beg anyone who hears my story, do not wait. Surrender to Jesus now.